I'm still working inside allchicletsarego.ai, subject to the slight change that is the addition of this shaft of the arrow that I made in the previous exercise. In this exercise, with the constraint axis, incidentally, if I press Control-K to bring up preferences, still set to negative 30 degrees. And the most important thing about this constraint angle, by the way, is that once you're done using it at this wacky angle, you reset it back to 0 degrees so it doesn't mess up everything else you do. Anyway, I'll show you that before we're done, but cancel out. And we're now going to draw the arrowhead at an angle as well, using the polygon tool. So I'm going to grab the polygon tool and I'm going to draw with it like so. And I'm pressing the Shift key to constrain the angle of this polygon so it's totally upright. Now, one of the weird things about the polygon tool is it doesn't pay any attention to the constraint angle. So that's too bad. Many of the other tools do. But what I am going to do here as I'm drawing the shape, I'm going to press the down arrow key a couple of times so that we have a basic triangle. And then I'll press the Shift key once again in order to make sure that it's entirely upright there. And once I get it sized more or less the way I want it, I'll go ahead and release the mouse button, and then I'll release the Shift key. Now, the reason I singled out the polygon tool is not participating with the program here is notice what happens with the rectangle tool. If I draw a rectangle, it is at the angle that I specified inside the preferences dialog box. And so is text, and so is a bunch of other stuff that you'll create here inside of Illustrator. Anyway, I'm going to backspace that rectangle to get rid of it. And then I'm going to press the V key to get the selection tool. I'm going to click on my new triangle, and I want to reverse its fill and stroke attributes. Notice that currently it has no fill and it has a black stroke. I want exactly the opposite. I want no stroke and a black fill. So I could click on this little icon right there to swap the fill and stroke, or I could press Shift-X, and I get this effect right there, which is perfect. Next, what I need to do is assign this triangle a center point, which I'll do from the Attributes panel. That's pretty simple. And it's not really going to be the center of the triangle. As you can see right there, it's the center of the bounding box. So just bear that in mind, but it's still going to help us out. And now we need to rotate this triangle into position. So I'll switch over to the Rotate tool here inside the toolbox, and then I'll double click on its icon to bring up the Rotate dialog box. Now, trying to figure out the angle of rotation is a little bit tough. What I suggest you do when you're sort of working your way through this kind of thing is start with an angle of 0 degrees. And that way you don't have any rotation going on at all. And then think about it. Okay, first I need to get it on its side, which is a 90-degree rotation, and then I need to get it down, which is another 30 degrees. So I'll try 90 degrees just to see if I'm reasoning this through right, and that's pointing the wrong direction. So obviously I need negative 90 degrees, press Tab, aha, and then I'm going to say minus 30 degrees, like that. So negative 90, minus 30, press Tab, that's it. And the center point isn't doing it for me after all. Notice it's popped back up there, even though the center of the rotation is right about there. So we have a terrible problem thanks to our bounding box. So click OK. Fact of the matter is we do have this rotated properly, but we need something that's more useful to us than the center point. In fact, this center point is just confusing me. So I'm going to go back to the Attributes panel, and I'm going to turn it back off. And now I'm going to close the Attributes panel. What's going to do a better job for me? Well, I need a point right there along this segment. And you can double the number of points inside of any path inside of Illustrator just by choosing a command. So you'll add a point right in the center there, there, and there. And to do so, you go to the Object menu, then choose the Path command, and then choose this command right there, Add Anchor Points. And if you loaded my D key shortcuts, I gave you a keyboard shortcut of Control-Alt \\. That's Command-Option \/ on the Mac. Click OK. Nice. That's a center point right there that we can use. I'll go ahead and switch back to the black arrow tool. Then I'll drag this point until it snaps into alignment right there with the end of the shaft. And because I really want it farther down the shaft up there, I'll go ahead and drag it up the shaft, and I'll press the Shift key as I do so that I remain in alignment with the angle of this arrow. I think that's a good place for my arrowhead. The only problem is this is an ugly arrowhead, just a standard triangle. Who wants that? So I'm going to modify this arrowhead so it has a little bit of what's known as concavity associated with this, and I will do that in the next exercise.